Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Nations' dice game is a dice version of its bigger brother, Nations. And when Nations came out, it was supposed to be Through the Ages killer. But I have to say, I don't know the history of the Nations game, but boy is it similar to Through the Ages. Some people prefer Nations to Through the Ages, and of course when anything is new and shiny, everybody preferred Nations to Through the Ages. But I think Through the Ages is the better game. But we're not here to discuss that. We're here to talk about Nations the Dice game. Nations the Dice game takes Nations and condenses it down to dice. And I think that isn't a good mix. I don't think. It's too random with the dice rolling. I think generating the tiles that are coming out, there are not enough tiles, so every game you're not really seeing all of them, but there's a lot that you're re-seeing every time. I think there may be dominant strategies in this game of getting certain aspects. Some are just better than others. Perhaps. There's always a cost associated with that, so I'm very certain it's balanced. And I'm not trying to claim it's not balanced. I just think some buildings are better than others, and as you play it more, you get used to it. I don't think there's a lot of decisions in the game. You roll the dice, and you do the best with what you have. And the other person's taking things off the board, so your options become lower as the game goes, and I just don't think it's a very good game. It doesn't have good decisions. The dice are a little bit too powerful in my decision-making and what I can do on the board. And I just don't feel like I'm accomplishing enough. The game is very quick. Oh yeah, this game is very fast. You don't have to worry about downtime. You don't have to worry about the game taking too long. It might be a little too quick. It might be a little too simplistic in taking that Nations game and putting it into a dice game. And quite frankly, I'm not sure I needed a dice version of the game. I think what I had was just fine. And I don't think I need a civilization game quite this quick. It doesn't feel epic. I don't feel like I'm building a civilization. I feel like I'm getting tiles with pictures on them. Artwork I didn't really enjoy. And it's numbers and computations that I'm getting versus a sprawling civilization I'm taking care of. So in that regards, I didn't really enjoy this one much. There wasn't very much appealing about it. And one I would tell you to avoid, and I'll be purging this one. Here's Nations, the dice game. You can see Tesla on the front, and which is a very odd choice. You're going to have, this is what your player mats will look like. You just have a different color with a different country here, or civilization here. But no power. Everything starts out the same exactly. As you can see, Greece is exactly like Persia. The only difference is going to be the color of the name there. Going to get a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. And these are pretty nice player mats. They just sit right on the board. This will be a little tracker you're going to have for the points in the books. And this is what it's really just, all this does is hold the tiles. That's it. Nothing great. You're going to get a bunch of dice here of different colors. They're all custom. Very nice. And you're going to get a bunch of tiles here from the different eras. You can see they're pretty generic looking, actually. Not fantastic, but very user-friendly. And they're fine. Nothing to write home about. And then some cheap generic tokens that you'll have throughout the game. Very thin. They're okay. Nothing in here is going to like wow you or blow your mind. It's fine. Here's a rule book. Picture of the front of the box. Going to have contents here. Kind of pictures through here with setup and an overview. Now what was kind of weird was there was no like turn overview in here. I mean, it says game overview, but I thought that was kind of weird. Not that it's very difficult to understand. Really, this is just the game right here, and you can see there's pictures, and there's some things on the side here. It'll end here with scoring. There's a solo game. If you want to play more, it's an advertisement for the big boy version. That's pretty much it. A little bit of a design here on the back. Not a whole lot. It never told you how a round goes. You just kind of put it together. D- for that. Not a great rule book, but the game is so simple, you'll be up and playing in no time. So this board I'll explain first. This just tracks your points. This is going to track the number of books that you get. That's going to be important because whoever has the most books in a round is going to score some extra victory points here that you'll have. So the tiles that you're going to be playing with are going to have different eras. You can see 1, it's not quite in color. And you get to 2, it's going to have a 2 on the bottom and a little bit more in color. All the way until you get to era 4, which will be fully in color and have the 4 at the bottom. So what you're going to do is fairly easy. You're going to fill up this board here and just put tiles out based on the number of players. And let's say you're playing a 4-player game, you'll be able to put the tiles out like this, and people will be able to see what's available for the round. Now, you won't use all of the tiles for round 1. If you have any left over, they just go back into the box. On your turn, you're going to have your player board here. It tells you in the first round, you're going to have 5 white dice. So you're going to take your 5 white dice. You're going to start with 1 reroll and 1 yellow token. And then you're going to roll your 5 dice. And then you're going to be able to use these to buy different things on the board. If you don't like something, you can always give up a reroll token, choose whatever dice you want, and then reroll those dice. And then if you don't have any more reroll tokens, you're kind of stuck with them. So the things you're going to buy is 1, 2s, and 3s will be to multiply the price. If it has a yellow here on the left side of it, it will cost you a yellow, one of these coins in order to purchase it. If it has a sword on it, it will take a sword in order to defeat it. So let me just give you an example here. If you wanted to defeat Babylonia, that's fine. That would go off to the side. You would spend your sword to do so, and then it tells you right here it gains you one of those tokens. So you have additional one of these tokens, and that's really all that it does. If you wanted to purchase a leader, it's very easy. It has a yellow on the side. Times 1, you give up one of these, and a leader will go here. And you can only have 1 leader at a time, and she gives you a reroll token. That's pretty much what she does each round. But if you wanted to get a new one for whatever reason, you would just cover up the one that was there, etc. Now, you also have these wonders that you can do. So this would cost 3 times, because there's 3 there. It would cost you 3 of the yellow, so you give up your die. And I can always give up these tokens if I so want. And I would put a wonder here. Now, the wonder's not built yet. It just gives me the ability to build it. What I'm going to need to build this is stone. So I need 2 stone here. Look, I happen to have only 1 stone. But let's just say, for argument's sake, that I did have 2 stone. I would give up the 2 stones. And then this would score. So it would give me the yellow token and then 2 victory points at the end of the game. It would come over here, and I would have my slot available again to start another wonder. That's pretty much going to be the entire game. Now, at the end of a round, you will have these books that will be left over, and it will move you up on this track, and based on where you're on this track, how many people you're ahead of, you'll score glory points for that. The other little thing that's going to happen is there's going to be these events that will be out each round. And this tells you that however many food or leaves that you have, which will be these on the die, 2 times the leaves equals a victory point. So for every 2 I have, I get a victory point. Same thing with swords. So the swords, if I have any of these, which is war, for every sword I have, I'm going to get a glory point or a victory point. So this will be up each round, and as the rounds go deeper, here's one for round 4. You can see it's 4 times and 5 times, etc. So they get a little bit harder. You need 5 of these in order to score the 4 victory points. So, but you'll be generating more dice as the game goes along. So that's kind of how that works. So some of these, like this one, these blue ones you can get, they give you additional die. So what you're going to do is when you get these, you will place it over something. I'll place it over this Axeman, for example. I will give up my white die because I no longer have it, as you can tell. But I would gain a yellow die, which I can roll immediately and go ahead and utilize this round. So buying these, if you've already spent, like say this white one, I'd give it up, and I'm going to get a red one, is a great way to get more and more dice. So you're going to play through 4 eras. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner of the game. Who should buy this game? It's a very hard game for me to recommend because I don't think it's very good, to be honest. I would say if you're looking for a dice chucker, you like the civilization theme, and you want something that plays quick, but no, you're giving up strategic decisions in that, I think this is fine. There are some dice chuckers I like. If you really want a dice chucker, this could be it for you, especially if you like the civilization theme, especially if you like nations. Just don't expect a smaller nations game. It looks a little similar. Doesn't play a lot of similar. The same strategic decisions aren't there. A lot of times you see these games where it take the same strategic decisions and you streamline them a lot. This one, not so much. This one, the dice are controlling more of what you're doing rather than you. I think that is very fair with this game. And even though this is a very negative review on this game, I think I'm being very honest and fair about the game. It's worse than what you may think. Avoid this one at all costs. Absolute purge for me.